Welcome to the Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sam Valentine. I'm an actress in Los Angeles, and most recently in the movie Followed, that is out in drive-ins all across America right now. Yeah. So Followed is crazy. The number one movie in America. We're about to be on to 3 weeks. Cross your fingers for this 4th of July weekend. Followed is a new era found footage movie about a group of YouTube vloggers who go all the way to the Hotel Lenox in downtown Los Angeles, which is based on the Cecil Hotel, which has a myriad of haunted issues in the past. And the same about for the Hotel Lenox in the film. The crew, myself, my character Danny, is a member of the film crew who goes to stay in the hotel overnight, and madness ensues and is caught on video. So my role is of Danny. She is I guess she is the girl in the boys club of the movie. Danny is usually a sound tech, but she goes with Drop the Mic, who's the main character, and his friend Chris, played by Tim Dreyer. And we all go to the hotel. We ended up staying in the same room to try and find these haunted things and debunk them. Unfortunately, both of those boys have very opposite views. So Drop the Mic, played by Matthew Solomon, really is very go with the flow, does whatever he needs to get followers, oftentimes getting himself in very, very deep trouble. And his opposite, Chris, is very religious, very cut to the chase, like very much believes in evil spirits and we shouldn't mess with them. So Danny, my character, is kind of the go-between between those two. She's very practical. She's very down to earth. She wears a lot of cozy on-set clothes like the sound crew does in real movies, and she really gets to be the joining force between the two boys. It was so fun. I got to wear the comfiest clothes. I got to wear like sneakers and oversized jeans and t-shirts. I told everyone we would always stay after work and have beers, which I would never usually do while I was filming a movie. So it was a very chill character to get to play. You know, I do. I'm a very cozy person. I have a dress on for you today because I was so excited to do an on-camera interview, and I just kind of miss dressing up for interviews. I feel like we've all been pretty cozy these past couple of months. So, but normally in my day-to-day, I have Sam Valentine, have 3 rescue dogs. I run around the house all day and outside, and I used to be a fitness trainer, so I do usually wear very comfy clothes. I usually run about town. I do love a cold beer. So that was really fun because I typically play a little more upper class, a little more of the, the cute girl. She'd be more having like a white wine spritzer. So to be this much more down to earth, there was a lot of cursing. There was a lot of just regular banter between the characters. It was very easy to fall into that character. We all got along really well, which, I mean, if you know about indie filmmaking, it is fast, it moves, and if you don't get along well, like it could go badly very quickly. So we were quite lucky. I mean, everyone was fantastic. Matthew and I are still really close, actually. We talk, right now we're talking almost every day because we're talking about the movie and things that are going on. And so he and I have stayed really tight. And the second I met him on set, I was like, we're going to be really good friends. I think we were changing in the wardrobe, like getting our wardrobe trying on day done, our fitting day. And I remember like pulling out a t-shirt and he goes, man, you work out more than I do. So he's just such a fun guy. And Tim is so awesome, who plays the character of Christopher. Weirdly, so although we shot a movie in LA, I went to college many years ago in Missouri, and I mentioned that, and we ended up coming around to the fact that I was in a sorority with his little sister. So so the world is so small. We had no idea who each other were, and we ended up having this whole big movie scene stuff together. And we also had a whole love interest that was completely cut out of the plot for time purposes. So I had to call his sister from set one day and say, listen, Sam, her name was also Sam, I have to kiss your brother today, and da 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 da. I just need your permission. So it's funny how much the worlds collide. Yeah, everyone was so awesome on that set. I miss them a lot. Yeah. So Matt, who plays Drop the Mark, was cast long before they actually had a script, which is crazy. And so I came in on the tail end almost a year later. I think they spent developing and figuring everything out and getting all their money and stuff. So by the time I was in, I think almost the whole crew was cast. And I ended up auditioning for the role that was Matthew Solomon's wife, played by Kelsey Griswold. And so we both, and then she also auditioned for the same role as me. So we both auditioned for Danny and Jess. And we met in the waiting room and we ended up talking. And she's from Oklahoma and I used to live there too. So we had a lot in common. And I remember leaving and thinking, man, I am so good for Danny and she is so sweet. She is so good for Jess. I hope they see enough to cast us like this. So they ended up doing that, which was really exciting. So that was the casting process. We ended up playing a lot in the room. They let us take the dialogue. They let us play. They took an actual cell phone and they gave it to Matt Solomon when he was auditioning with us. And they had him like fake film like we were actually making the movie. And then I think they watched that back as well as part of the callback to see how it looked as actual found footage with us. So it was definitely really different, but way more fun than a typical audition. Oh man, we had so much fun making this movie. It was it doesn't feel like we did it in 2 weeks. I feel like I've known these guys for so long. It feels like we had so much more time than that together. Oh God, I'm trying to think. I remember the first day when we were all together and they were explaining the shooting schedule. I just looked at Matthew Solomon and we just made our contact like, how are we going to do this? And even before we got to set, actually, our director, Antoine Lee, and Matt Brubaker, one of the producers, made sure that the cast really knew each other. So I don't know if Matthew told you this, but they took us on a ghost tour in Pasadena. So they set it up so we could go do this thing all as a group. So even like the crew came and stuff. It was so fun. And we actually like had a full tour guide and we went to like the Devil's Door or something on this big open wall in Pasadena. It was so fun. So they made sure we were pretty tight from the beginning. And there was days where sets went so long that we just got so loopy at the end. I remember there was a particular day where we ended the day doing some of the sleeping, which there's a lot of stuff they cut out of the movie that happened while we were laying in the hotel beds, which is the best thing in the world to film as an actor because sleeping scenes are awesome because you're just laying there. And they had to cut some of that out, but we all like almost fell asleep in the beds because we were like so tired at the end of the day. And then we hit that point, and that's where the pillow fight scene came in. I don't know if you remember that from the film, but we we absolutely lost our minds that day, and that kind of organically made it into the film. So we were actually filming in working hotels. So we filmed at two different hotels. So anything that was actually creepy looking, the basement, all those things, those were at a hotel actually in downtown right next to the Hotel Cecil. And that one was actually really creepy. The lobby, the basement, the floors that looked a little sketchier, those were all from that particular hotel. And then the rooms that we went in, the nicer hallways, that was all from a hotel in Koreatown in LA called Hotel Normandy. And they were super nice. That's where the diner was too. Everyone was really accommodating to us, but because they were functioning hotels and some of them had residential areas, we rode an elevator a lot. And so we would have to stop the elevator, let people on. We would all have to get off and then switch. So we spent a lot of time getting on and off elevators so that people who actually lived or were staying in these places could get to where they were going. So I think they were really accommodating, all things considered, but it was it was incredible that we got that movie done in the time span that we did. Yeah, the first movie I ever did was a scary movie. When I was living outside of St. Louis, I got cast in a tiny film, tiny role, and I remember I went to set for it, and there was actual director's chairs, and there was it just felt there, they had all the props and all the blood and all the everything, and it felt like such a real Hollywood-esque experience. And so that was one of my first times on a set being in something like that. So since then, I've weirdly done a lot of horror movies. I don't know exactly why. I think because I have the footage. I also, look readily available for the parts as well. But I always liked a scary movie as long as it wasn't too bloody. The gore kind of gets me. I can only watch like so much of that. But I remember I bought the movie The Ring on DVD as soon as it came out because I thought it was such an awesome movie. And ones like that have always been some of my favorites. I love that. But I also love Rosemary's Baby, if we're going to go classic. I think that movie is fantastic. Man, this is all I ever wanted to do. I sometimes wish there was something else I wanted to do because it would probably be a little easier. But ever since I was a little kid, I was super shy, but this is the one way that I really became myself whenever I stood on a stage. And like we talked about, I grew up in a lot of tiny, small towns. So there wasn't a lot of opportunities to do it beyond like the once a year play that was offered in the elementary schools. So my parents were so supportive, and they would drive me an hour out of the way to go to some tiny little play or some tiny little rehearsal, and my mom would get involved, and she would bring snacks or she would volunteer, or they were so supportive of me doing anything I could to do this process. I remember I told them I have to have braces because I'm going to be a movie star one day. I'm so lucky they believed me, because if you saw pictures of me with those braces, you wouldn't think that I was going to be in movies. When I went to college, I decided I was going to go for it and just do the acting major about a year in. And I was once again lucky that they were so supportive. They said, all right, just if you're going to do it, you have to be the best at it. So they have been the best. And that is the only reason I think I can be here today, is because my support system has been so strong my whole life. The second I graduated college, I think I moved to LA 48 hours later. And I've been here almost 9 years, a little over. And I've been doing this ever since, between that and working the side jobs to get by and live in life and normal. This is acting's it for me. Oh my gosh, I'd love to. Please. So I run One Broke Actress, which is a site and a podcast for actors and for people who are curious about what the world is like. I would always get really frustrated that unlike, we know what a teacher's day-to-day is like. Well, we're learning more now that all the kids are at home and everyone's much more grateful for the teachers, that's for sure. But we kind of know what an accountant's day looks like. We kind of know what a lawyer's day looks like, but no one really knows what an actor's life looks like. And it can feel really lonely, and it can feel misunderstood. And, you could look lazy, or it can look like you're not trying hard enough. And so I started One Broke Actress because I feel like celebrities write books or do shows about their life when they're up and coming and struggling after they're successful. And I want to remember all of the stuff that happened before, during, and after. I want to cover it all, and I want to open it up to actors. And I wanted to start a platform where actors can talk about the parts that are hard. They can talk about working, a bunch of side jobs at the same time while also trying to audition. They can talk about how hard it is to get an agent. I wanted it to be a safe place where we can all just learn from each other and grow in like a non-competitive way. So One Broke Actress is on its 6th season. I think we have over 75 episodes now. And it's got its own Instagram, and I think eventually it will be a YouTube channel eventually. It's something I haven't quite tackled yet, but it's in the works. So I love it, and it keeps me really connected to people, and it's been a great place to meet new actors and just, be the person I wish I had when I got to LA. OneBrokeActress.com has everything on it, and so does Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Play and Stitcher and every place that you can find a podcast. This is such a hard time because everything is just so off. So I'm going to give you some post-corona advice, something for when it's all over, and then I'll give you some corona advice. I think in normal day-to-day, you just have to decide this is something you want to do, and the problems that you're going to have in your first year are very similar to the problems that you're going to have in your 10th year. So you just have to find a way to enjoy and embrace the nonsense, how hard it is to find a rep, how hard it is to get the next audition, the struggles of the blank time in between. I think embracing that instead of running away from it or being embarrassed by it, because you're going to have the same issues all along. It's just going to be at different levels, right? The next audition is just going to be, maybe for a Marvel film in 10 years, whereas when it's up first, it's going to be for a, Colgate commercial. So you just have to embrace the struggles and the in-between time as much as possible. And for right now, oh God, and everything that's going on with COVID, you really, really, really have to find a way to enjoy what you do when no one's watching it and no one's paying for it, which is really hard to say because it's a well-paid career for a reason. It's not, we're not laying tar, but it is an emotionally taxing job. And you have to be willing to have fun with it and find ways to do it and enjoy it when there's nothing going on. So that way, when there is something going on, you start from a good place, not from a bitter place or an upset place. It just has to come from just an enjoyment of what you do.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.